Now we're starting with level 2. This is lesson 1. I suggest that you decide on a plan of how to practice. If you kind of let it depend on how you feel, you may not practice as much as you like. Like some people I know say, oh, I have to get up very, very early before the little kids wake up, so they get up at 5 and do Kumne before the kids wake up. Some people do it right away when they come home before they have dinner. Well, neither one is maybe attractive to you, but you have to find a moment in the day that is reliable for you to say, well, that's the time of my practice. It's also helpful to have a place in the house that is dedicated to that. So if you go there, you know, well, this is my place for doing Kumne at this moment. Maybe you have to make some agreements with members in your family. So it is not so easy to establish a discipline. And if you do it a little bit gentle and let people kind of ease into how you're going to do that, then you get their support. But even if you're living alone, it's still difficult if you don't have a set program, if you don't decide beforehand when you're going to practice, where you're going to practice, and how long. So I suggest you encourage yourself. It's not like an arduous discipline where you should do Kumne. It's more like, oh, I know if I set it up like this, Kumne will be, I will do Kumne. So the first lesson will work a lot with the throat center. And the reason for that is that the energy as it flows through our body is distributed in this area. That may be all strange language, distributed energy, but every part of the body has a specific function. So each energy center has a function that the other ones don't have, and the throat center is the distribution of it. So the energy comes in, for example, with the breath, and it's in this area that decides, maybe quote unquote, where the energy will go. So if you think a lot, then there is a kind of a set pattern in the throat that says, oh, the energy needs to go to the head. So you breathe in, and in the throat there's some kind of code that says, we need it in the head, we need it in the head, because we're thinking a lot. So if you want to have the energy go more harmoniously through the whole body, the throat needs to relax. Open the throat. So we always start with something that has to connect it with the throat or the shoulders. So up and down, or one this way, or forwards and backwards. There are all kinds of exercises that help with relaxing the throat center, opening up the throat center. So it's not like you have to arrange for distribution of energy. That's just part that comes with the throat center being relaxed. So we are not in Kumne stirring up a bunch of energies and get a special experience. We're really going from the other end. We're opening up the throat. It's a little bit like the chimney in the fireplace. If it's too open, it has a negative effect on the fire, and if it's closed, it has. So it has to have the right opening of the chimney, and that's this area. So, and it reflects, if the throat is relaxed, not only distributes the energy, but you're more at ease in daily life. You, for example, you would not feel you're so anxious. You would feel you're not so much short of time. You always have to run after things, and you're always running late, and you're always behind. That's all a reflection of the throat center being tight. So now don't feel bad because your throat is tight. All of our throats are sometimes tight, and all of them are sometimes open. So you're not like a person who is like this, like you are a person with a tight throat. No, you're not. Under certain circumstances, your throat tightens up, and in others, it doesn't. So we're trying to create a relaxed throat that whatever the circumstance is, the throat doesn't tighten up as much as it usually does. So that's where we're going to relax the throat. So these situations that otherwise would make you tense and uptight, well, they still will make your adrenaline going, or they still make some fears coming up, but it is not so big deal anymore. So you can be more, your energy is more accessible to you. So the throat is an important part in this lesson. But I would like to share a little bit of what's behind all of this. And that may not be so clear in when you're doing this lesson, but what's behind of this is that we're trying to restore balance. We're trying to stabilize balance. And balance in Kumne means that the energy flows harmoniously, circulates through the body, through all the centers. When that happens, it is very interesting. We internally nourish ourselves. It's the energy that flows through the centers that will make you say, I feel content. So if you feel you're not content, you feel you're empty and you feel you're lonely, or, well, let's not start with the big ones. But if you feel discontent or you feel restless, it is only a reflection that the energy doesn't flow harmoniously through the body. So you want to restore that and not trying to figure out the reason for your anxiety, because the reason might be a long time ago, and actually you can never find the original reason for that. And even if you would find it, it still has your throat tight or a certain center tight. The only way to deal with it in Kumne is to make the energy flowing throughout the body. So when there's a balance, we feel more together, we feel more in our element. So we need to learn to recognize how we lose that balance. And one way is, and this is not a moralistic thing, like you're a bad person if you do that, and you shouldn't do that. No, if you feel you're reaching out, if you feel you're looking for something to fulfill you or fill you up, if you're reaching out and trying to get more things, it basically is an indication that you are losing your balance. And that's very subtle. For example, if you are very focused on other people, what they do wrong, and you think of something isn't right about them, you may be correct, but it doesn't help you, because you still will feel off balance because they are like this or like that. So if you internally have the energy flow through you, they may still be however you perceive them to be, but it doesn't upset you, it doesn't contract you, it doesn't really throw you off. I mean, you may change your attitude a little bit, or not change your approach a little bit, but you're not really thrown off. What is very nice is the text in the first pages of the Kumne Tibetan Yoga. It describes there that when we feel more empty inside, or I can say it maybe better, the text describes that when we want more houses, more, we're actually trying to regain that sense of wholeness, and this is some technical language, by appropriation. If we appropriate and get more and more, we think that we will feel more fulfilled. But that's not the case. Inside is something off balance, and it is, we try to restore that balance by acquisition, by appropriation, by getting things. So people who really always thinking of buying, they're actually thinking that they will come into balance again by buying. Now it is true, you can buy happiness for 5 minutes, no question about it. You feel great if you buy something. But underneath there's this pattern of getting that you think will actually make you feel balanced again, and that's not the case. So this is not a moralistic thing like you shouldn't buy, not at all. Do as whatever your lifestyle is suitable for you and fits for you, but become aware of when you tend to go out yourself and judge other people, or trying to fill your time with external things. Please do all of those things, but at the same time build up your internal flow so your basis is balanced, and then you feel whole and balanced. So that's a little bit of the idea behind it, and that is written in the first pages of Kumne, the Tibetan Yoga. I'm very much in favor that you really study the text. The way that I learned is by actually copying it. I would handwrite it, I would write it, because I think if I write it beautiful and I make the sentences break in a way that I enjoy, I think is the right place, then what is inside the text, where the text is coming from, actually comes into me. Now that's a way of saying it, but actually I feel much better. And it is pretty sure that if I copy the text, I know it. I may not verbatimly able to repeat it, but when the situations arrive, I can say what I just read. So I would highly recommend you read the text, maybe copy it, and let the text speak to you. Take some time for that. It's really half the work, the practice and the theory, and together they come and really will support you in your practice. So have a good lesson, and I hope you enjoy. But don't forget, Kumne is not always fun. I don't always do Kumne because I love doing Kumne. No, I love the results, and I guarantee the results. And I love the experience and the theory that's underneath it. So if I like the exercise of doing them, it's really not very relevant for me. So one way to do that is to, as you're doing the practice, is trying to do them as beautifully as you can, as engaged as you can, as if you were teaching it to others. Good luck.